I was raised in an avid BYU sports fan family. Some of my fondest memories were of going to BYU basketball games and football games. Though I did notice that the seating we would usually sit in with my father's season tickets was very much less exuberant and lively than that of the student section or the rock section. While we mainly sat down most of the time, they were almost always on their feet, and while we rarely cheered loudly, they seemed to be continuously cheering. I looked forward to the day that I would hopefully join their ranks. And here I am today, a BYU student, able to sit in the Rock Pass section. But I've realized an issue. BYU students are given pretty crappy seating when it comes to all BYU sports games in comparison to the priority seating given to those BYU non-students willing to pay the big bucks. To solve this issue, BYU students should be given priority seating at all BYU sporting events over non-students. According to the official website of the BYU Cougars, the BYU men's basketball team has won 80.1% of its home games in the Marriott Center, including a school record 53-game home victory that started in 2005 and ended in 2008. Evidently, BYU basketball teams excel in this atmosphere even more so than other college basketball teams. I gave a survey out to several of my fellow classmates on this topic of the rock section, and everyone agreed to some degree or another that they thought the rock section was more spirited, loud, and exuberant than other seatings at BYU sporting events. If this is the case, why should the student section at BYU games be shoved to the short side? Why should they be given lesser seating when they contribute so much to this school atmosphere at these sporting events? A few years ago, things were different at the Marriott Center. The student section was primarily located along one of the long ends of the stadium, and these games had this amazing atmosphere as that whole side was packed with spirited students. But then that section of seats went under renovation, and the student section was shoved over. They used to be here, and now they're over here. When that change happened, the atmosphere in the stadium died down considerably. The crowd lacked that electricity that was present before the seating switch. In a study called The Supportive Crowd Effect Upon Relative Performance Production, Shane Sanders and Christopher Baudreau studied how sports fans can affect the teams that they are supporting. They studied the Staples Center in LA because it gave a unique position where it housed not one, but two NBA teams as its home arena. They studied the Staples Center to eliminate the factor of environmental familiarity so they could solely focus on how the crowd atmosphere helps their team. According to Sanders and Baudreau, within this environment, we find that crowd sympathy is a significant source of home advantage. So with these findings, and also with our general agreement that the rock section contributes the most to the loud, noisy, encouraging sports atmosphere at home games, why in the world would they be shoved to the short side and in the corners where they are the least effective to contributing to that home atmosphere? The excitement I felt when I first got to use my Rock Pass as a freshman quickly diminished when I tried to use it at a BYU women's soccer game. As you can see, the students are seated behind one of the goals on rickety metal bleachers, and then the non-students are sat in comfortable sideline seats. While the student section struggled to see what events were taking place on the field, the non-students sat comfortably in their individual seats bearing our school symbol. Sweat dripped and aches began to form as we twisted and strained to see what was going on the other end of the field. We didn't know whether to boo or chant because we couldn't even see the ball. Is this the game day that BYU students deserve? No. I could assume that those in preferred seating had quite an enjoyable day, but I, for one, cannot say the same. Now, some may say that non-students deserve these priority seats because they're willing to dish out copious amounts of money for them. But we should not forget the poor college students who dished out $125, which is quite a lot after paying tuition, to purchase a rock pass. We should also not forget the biblical story of the widow's 2 mites found in Mark 12:43 and apply a modern application. Verily I say unto you that this poor college student hath cast more in than all they which did cast into the Cougar Club seating donations. For all they did cast in their abundance, but the students of their want did cast in all. Some may also argue that BYU sports will suffer less of an income if they give up some priority seating to the students. But according to an article from the Salt Lake Tribune titled, BYU Basketball Marriott Center Renovations Put Cougars in Middle of Action by J. Drew, the Marriott Center originally seated 2,207, but after a couple renovations, today it only seats 18,967 in order to make way for more roomy, comfortable seating. Now, if BYU sports can continue to thrive despite this severe drop in number of seats, then why can it not also financially thrive by giving some of the priority seating to students? Our fellow students are the ones that we come to see as student athletes, and our school colors and our school logo are on their jerseys. Students should not be squished to the short side in the corners of sporting events where their own fellow teammates are playing and their fellow schoolmates are the ones they are cheering on. School spirit cannot thrive on the short side. Thank you.